First of all, I'm very sorry about your loss.
Yeah, 2020.
Right?
Can go away.
Yeah. Yeah. I have run out of patience for it, I think. We're all over it. But holidays are hard this year.
Yeah, so I lost my father this year to a long drawn out battle with renal cell carcinoma. So I immediately put out a press release saying, hey, I lost my dad into a fight with cancer. Because, of course, everyone is just labeling everything COVID. And I wanted it to be a testament to his strength and how hard he fought for so many years, like 6 years after being diagnosed with like stage 4. So he's in a better spot now. And 2020 was his year, and I think my family's at peace with it. So that's good. So if anybody's worried about me out there, it wasn't an overnight, all of a sudden thing. It was a very hard fought battle thing.
Yeah. Well, my deepest condolences. I've lost a parent. It's not easy because
it's a
you still
weird
need
feeling.
them.
Yeah. Anybody out there that's listening to this, all of a sudden you like get filled with anger, and it's like, why am I angry? This is weird.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. But moving on.
Music. We're talking about music. 20 years.
20 years.
Okay,
20 years.
So, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised that it's 20 years because I feel like I've known you or known of you forever. So in some ways it feels like it should be longer, but also you've crammed a lot in 2 decades.
Well, it feels like 40 years, to be honest. And, one thing 2020 has been is, for me, is reflective. It's like I've had time to sit and think about everything we've done, from touring all over the country with Dierks Bentley and Miranda Lambert as the opener, to direct support for George Strait, at the Reliance Stadium at the Houston Rodeo, opening for Garth Brooks in Cincinnati, Ohio, playing shithole dive bars all throughout the country, headlining the Ryman Auditorium, Red Rocks, just all these memories, like one memory leads to the next, right? And when you put it all together, it sums up this 20-year career of our band and, 8 studio albums. And then I think about the records I made with Wade Bowen, Hold My Beer Volume 1 and 2, the Stryker Brothers record I made with Robert O'Keen. And, to be honest, I'm pretty satisfied. I mean, I feel bad for the bands that just are starting up, over the last couple of years, and all of a sudden you have to take a year off from touring and recording. But, for me, it's not that I needed the break, but I appreciate the break.
You were going to do I know you were going to do the Ryman show. You were going to do a bunch of shows in 2020, right?
Well, we did have a whole plan to, roll out 20 years and celebrate. We did have the Ryman sold out in April. That moved to August. That moved to February. Then now it's moved back to August 2021. So can't wait to get back to the Ryman, right? That's a show that's been rescheduled 4 times. But we want our fans to know, hey, we're going to stick with it, do what we got to do, and, respect all those tickets that were purchased. And we appreciate it. Obviously, we were looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Yeah. You have done music on your own and you've been on a record label. Which is your preference? Which is better for the Randy Rogers Band?
They're just different, really. I don't know that anything's better. When I was on Universal, Luke Lewis signed me there in my mid-20s, and we existed there for 10, 12 years. We made records the way we wanted to make records. There was never pressure to have a radio hit. I think they wanted us to have success, but having the number 1 at country radio didn't ever happen. And it also wasn't make or break for our band because we were touring the country and building our own selves up, instead of just relying on one medium. We were, utilizing the stations that did play us and go and grow those markets. And, since the breakup or whatever you want to call it from the record label, Universal, which my time there I loved and it was wonderful. We've done the same thing. We've gone back to those cities and grown it ourselves and kept playing them every 4 to 5, 6 months and worked the stations that did play us and take care of the fans that were there. And we kind of had the same MO that we had when we were signed. When at Universal, they told me, pick your producer, write your own songs, go have fun. And, I'm proud to say that we've recouped, at Universal. For anybody that doesn't know what that means is all the money they spent on us, now they have to pay us because we've already recouped. So, I think that now it's a new game anyway in the music industry. I think things are being done differently now at the label even. And I think that as an independent artist nowadays, you can move easily towards the changes in the industry more than you maybe would if you were sitting at a label waiting to, have the first single come out and you were fourth in line.
Would you take another label deal if one was offered, or are you happy with the way things are now?
It'd have to be a good one. Honestly, what we've built, we're proud of. And so it would have to be the right deal. But I'm not stupid enough to say that I wouldn't take a deal. I mean, I'm about to start writing with Radney Foster again, which I haven't written with him in years. And, we're going to work on another project. And if we come up with something that we believe deserves a bigger push than what we can give it on our own, that might need a little bit more muscle, I absolutely would take it and play it for people and see what they think about it.
The Randy Rogers Band is really kind of the benchmark for Texas artists. A lot of them have said, well, Randy Rogers is doing it on their own. The Randy Rogers Band, we can do it on our own. What are your thoughts on that inspiration or that legacy?
About being the old guy?
I didn't say that.
It's interesting because I still work with Parker McCollum. And we managed him. I had a management company for a while, and when COVID hit, it kind of just went away. I still am on the Team Parker, and he had my first live at Billy Bob's record when he was 12. Like he was learning to play those songs, and I remember how much of a party that night was. So it is interesting, and I am proud of our career, and that other people would look up to the way we did things. First thing I tell the youngsters is to, the harder you work, the luckier you get, and be excellent and be gone. Don't give anybody any reason not to book you back there. And treat everybody the same way on the way up, because you'll see them again on the way down. I mean, those are the lessons I was taught by my mentor, Ken Finley, at Cheatham Street Warehouse in San Marcos. And I think there's a few Todd Snyder songs about it. But, those little simple truths to the music industry go a long way with these youngsters. Not every one of them follows them, and I won't name names, but the ones that do seem to have the success.
Oh, but you do want to name names. You're just not because you're a professional, but you kind of do.
No, it's interesting to watch young artists grow. And I guess in Texas, we have such a huge, diverse audience where you can have a Randy Rogers Band, and then you can have a Co Wetzel, or you can have a Aaron Watson, and you can have a Reckless Kelly. They don't sound anything alike each other, and the fans support the music, and it's interesting year after year to see people kind of climb the ladder, and sometimes they leapfrog other artists, and they become more popular than other artists, and it's interesting to watch it happen. It's a fun dynamic to see, and I'm proud that I'm a part of that, and if some of those folks look up to our band and say, hey, those are the guys that did it right, I would have to agree.
I would have to agree too. So what's happening with new music for you guys? It was last year, Hellbent, last year?
It was 2 years ago, and then last year was, or this year actually, hey, let's put a record out during the pandemic. That's what Wade Bowen and I did. We put out All My Beer Volume 2. And so, yeah, record last year and record this year. What's coming next is I went into the studio. We wrote a song called, I can't tell you what it's called yet. But
interesting.
We did a duet or collaboration really with a Norteño band named La Maquinaria de Norteña. So the Machines of the North, that's what that translates to. They've been around almost as long as we have, maybe about the same amount of time. And so we did this, got in the studio, and half our band, half their band, and made this half English, half Spanish song. And it's, I'm really excited about it. We've kind of been leaking a little bit, like that we're together and we've been writing, but it's going to come out right at the end of the first quarter, hopefully as things open back up in our country. And so that's the first thing that's going to roll out. And then, as I said, Radney Foster and I are set to write this week and next week, and probably all through January, working towards, I don't know what the next thing is. It could be an album. could be an EP. I think there is no time. Going back to the label situation, right? There is no time that I have to deadline, and so we're going to record when the time's right and when the songs are there. And, we haven't made a record with Randy in, 10 years or so.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to see, what we come up with.
Okay, so you and Wade were so sweet to talk to me right when Everything Nash launched about Hold My Beer Volume 2. And I had no idea how crazy your fans are, but they're crazy.
Were they sweet?
They were good. It's just my traffic went so high. What is happening with you and Wade in the future? Is there going to be a Hold My Beer Volume 3?
Well, we just played the last show of the year together down in Corpus Christi, and there were no fist fights this year, so that's good. So I would say definitely Volume 3. It took us 5 years in between the last two. I will say that as on the business side of the music industry, we've talked about kind of relaunching Volume 2 once everything opens back up, right? Because we didn't really get to tour it the way we wanted to. We didn't get to necessarily push it the way we wanted to because of the pandemic. And so there's talks of us putting out a new single sometime in the spring, and then hopefully getting the band back together, right? And playing some of the markets that we missed.
So last question, how are you doing with, we touched on it a little bit, but how are you doing with the COVID that has shut everything down? How are you doing in 2020?
So my family, fortunately, I've been able to play guitar and sing since I was about 12. And I feel comfortable doing that in people's living rooms or their backyard. And I've played some socially distanced outdoor backyard shows. I've played a lot of private events this year. I've done a bunch of these Zoom calls like this and played for families in their living rooms. I kind of kept myself busy. I kept myself working. I think the silver lining to all this, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but I'm a family man. I have young children, and one of my children, the youngest, she and I weren't close before this, and she went from 2 years old to now she's 3.5, right? And there's a big difference, if people that have kids know, between two and 2.5 and 3.5, huge difference. And I got to be home for that. So I've got to watch her little vocabulary come and her personality pop out. And I've had lots of good times and moments that I would have missed if I was on the West Coast for 21 days or, I was in Nashville riding for the week and then flew home and got on the tour bus and was gone another 8 days. I got a lot of moments through this pandemic that I wouldn't have had. So it's kind of changed my perspective. I've enjoyed the time off. I think after 20 years, I deserved a break. We pretty much toured incessantly since 2000. And, what the future holds for the band is, hopefully getting back out there and picking up a schedule that may not be as busy. Because I think it's all open to all of our eyes to the things that we were missing at home. And not to say that we don't have work to do still, but I think we're going to do work a little smarter.
Does it make you a little grateful?
Oh, I'm so grateful. Like I look around, I took my first grader to the dentist earlier today, and today's Thursday, and usually we would have left last night on the bus, at midnight to go where we're going to play Thursday. So, it's just those little moments. She was scared to go to the dentist, and I was grateful that I had the opportunity to hold her hand, So, it's those kind of things for me, at least, that 2020 has made me very, very aware of.
Wow, that's beautiful. I think that's all I need, which I'm kind of bummed about because I could just keep talking to you, but that's all I need. Thanks. It's good to see you.
Yeah, now I get to go to the grocery store and cook dinner. So there you go. And decorate the street.
2020.
Decorate the street, and my wife says, "Sorry, it's not completely decorated yet." But
well, tell your wife I think it looks beautiful.
Will do. Thanks, Randy.
Have a good one.